experiences I've ever had going to the movies.
Now, I know some people found this movie fun, but me, I'd rather spend 2 hours having root canal work done.
It's a terrible film from beginning to end.
You know the theory of reincarnation, where the dues we pay in this lifetime may get to collect in another lifetime? For having seen this movie, I want months and months and months in a beautiful valley.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, we give it a 3.
Well, maybe it wasn't that good. Let's give it a 1.
It's me, your twin.
I don't know why it sounded like Little Nicky. That
sounded like a really bad Jennifer Coolidge impersonation.
I really want
It's me.
corn dog.
Oh, God.
Makes me want a hot dog real bad.
Mom just died.
What a, she kind of sounds like Carol Channing.
Oh, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Raspberries?
Raspberries.
All right, well, why are we doing that voice poorly? Because Adam Sandler doesn't put much effort into it. This is Bombs Away, a bad movie comedy podcast. My name is the real Tyler Rowe. Joining me inside the studio, as always, is...
Peyton Bieber.
Were you calling a cat?
I was going with conjoined twin.
There you go. Conjoined twin Peyton Bieber and...
Oh, God. The lesser of two of a... Well, wait. No, I messed it up because that threw me off because normally you don't do it.
Tyler did one, so
wait.
I thought I'd figure out.
The greater half of a lesser duo. Jared Seifert.
All right. Are you saying... What do you mean lesser half of the greater duo, huh? What are you trying to say?
I'm not calling
We're
back
a
to
trio,
current
so-
podcast times.
Trying to say when I took your spot, you bitch? Oh, yes. Like I said, this is Bombs Away Bad Movie Comedy Podcast. Why are we talking about twins? Well, I always say these weird intros into the episodes as if you didn't click the episode and see the title of it. Yes, we are talking today about 2011's Jack and Jill. The movie before Adam Sandler got that wonderful deal with Netflix. I have a feeling there is something there that has to do with why all of a sudden he can only be on Netflix.
Yeah, there's a few things.
There's a few things, and I'll tell you what those few things are with an IMDb of 3.3 and
Worse than the Phantom, just saying.
Oh my God! Here he comes, Phantom apologist, and the a Rotten Tomatoes score of 3%. Might just be the lowest rated movie we've ever done on the show. I would have to look up what Son of the Mask is, but I am saying I think this is close. However, technically speaking, last week we did do a movie that has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No.
Yeah, with Jaws 4. Jaws 4 has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Last week.
That's not last week.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago,
4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago.
We're definitely not filming these or recording these all at the same
Yeah,
time.
we are definitely not filming these. You're absolutely correct. It's an audio podcast.
Exactly. Directed by Dennis Dugan, who is a Adam Sandler regular. He's directed some other stuff for Adam Sandler. He's acted in some stuff for Adam Sandler. Starring the man, the myth, the legend, Adam Sandler.
Co-starring
The man, the myth, the legend, Adam Sandler. Al Pacino, you poor bastard. And Katie Holmes, you poor bastard.
I always thought we called her Kate Holmes, not Katie Holmes.
No, what? Kate?
I've heard it both ways.
I feel like Kate Holmes is a different person. Katie Holmes.
Also, was this her last film?
Katie Cruz.
I don't know. This is around the time that she got divorced.
From Tom Cruise?
Yeah, from Tom Cruise. I do have to say, Katie Holmes is a good actress. This movie may not tell you that, but if you want to see a good movie, she's in The Gift with Patricia Arquette. Is that her in it? Or
I believe so.
Maybe I'm getting The Medium mixed up with that movie because it's the same plot. But she's excellent in that movie. Yes, this is 2011's Jack and Jill. Let's get right into it. The only Adam Sandler voice I can do is Little Nicky. So we start this movie off with some twin interviews.
I hated this.
Honest to God, I really was like, I bet these people aren't twins. I bet
know,
it's a split
it's
screen
just two people talking. Or a person talking to themselves, right?
Yeah. I was more than positive that it's just a split screen with people playing.
To answer my question about is this the last one she's done? No, it's not, but it's the last kind of notable thing she's done.
Oh, that's
For
She was in
you.
Lucky Logan.
Oh, Lucky Logan's so good.
She was in Ray Donovan.
That's the
for a little
sequel to
bit.
Logan.
He's not so
Giver.
lucky in that movie.
The
Ooh,
Giver.
The Giver.
Oh,
She was in How I Met Your Mother for 2
I'm
episodes.
the Getter.
I'm the lever.
Boy, boy, girl, girl.
Excuse me, what?
Boy, boy, girl, girl. It was a short film. The Boy
I think you can find that on Pornhub. But enough about Katie Holmes. We start out with these twin interviews. Like we said, not very sure that these people are actually twins. This film starts off with the sins right off the bat because I have to see a baby's penis in the bathtub.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's too much.
That's a little weird.
The credits start out innocuous enough and then start introducing to our title characters, Jack and Jill. Also, if I was a twin and my parents named me Jack and Jill, I would kill myself at the age of 8.
There's a lot of very suggestive moments between these siblings
Oh, like when
where it's
they're
like,
spooning?
I don't think siblings should do that.
Well, you remember in Date Movie made fun of it, but you remember in Meet the Fockers when they were like, oh, that's who he lost his virginity to, and it was like the maid?
Yeah.
I was halfway expecting a joke about that in this movie. I know Adam Sandler wouldn't go there, but they have a weird relationship. I was like, I wonder why they hate each other so much. Because they fucked. And they're embarrassed by it. We see that Jill has armpit hair.
This was pretty funny.
I
chuckled
don't
a
know.
few
I
times.
really am like, this movie is so horrifically like misogynistic towards a woman.
Yeah.
However, I do have to say, I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me. We haven't discussed this, but maybe it's well, think about it. Answer. Well,
as
hold
a
on.
woman, he is kind of hot.
No, he makes an ugly woman. No, but I was saying, think about this and we'll answer it when we do the Jaws rating. Does Jill deserve the feelings that Jack has towards her in this film? Don't keep your answers for now. While
I know,
we'll
I can
talk
give him my answer
about
now.
the movie at the end. I have the answer too, but we'll save it because it
Okay.
might spoil the movie going forward.
All right. Well, we haven't done that before.
Yeah, right. Yeah. This is a spoiler-free podcast. Thank you very much, Peyton.
We go point by point.
So we start off in a Pepto-Bismol commercial, and it's Regis Philbin talking to a digestive tract, and he calls cut, and who pops out behind that couch or that bed there? None other than comedy legend Dana Carvey in a 10-second cameo in this movie, griping about how he needs to finish this commercial shoot because he has Sesame Street immediately after because he's a puppeteer. Jared, what was the thing you were saying about Dana Carvey in this role?
This is his first theatrical release, or his first appearance in a theatrical release since Master of Disguise, which was what, 2000?
One or some shit like
Hey,
that.
Talk about Master Disguise, because I did not know that this was
Isn't it crazy to think that the two stars of Wayne's World both made movies so bad that they stopped acting for a
Right.
number of years?
Yep. Still.
Still, yeah. I mean,
Dana Carvey's kind of getting back into it, but
Michael Myers is still. Wait, no, this isn't since Master in Disguise. He's in Little Nicky. He plays a referee on the basketball team in that movie.
But was that a major theatrical release?
Yeah, that movie came out in
Yeah, it was in
theaters.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, you fuck-
That's what IMDb said about it.
That's
all
a
right?
lie. Fucking IMDb.
Was this
Yeah, he's in it because he's
Wikipedia?
playing a character that he used to play on SNL in that movie where he's like, "You're out of here," in that fucking voice.
Yeah.
God, Dana Carvey, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have made Master of Disguise.
Wayne's World 3. Wayne's World
Have
3.
we done that movie on the show?
Wayne's World?
Master of Disguise?
Master of Disguise.
I don't believe so.
No. We should do that one.
Go, God.
Turtley.
That's the only part that everyone remembers from that movie because it was in the trailers.
It was trailers.
And we were all 6 years old when it
Burned
came
into
out.
our minds.
Burned into my mind. Turtle.
God, why do we all have that in our brain?
So, we're introduced in this moment to Adam Sandler's character, Jack. He is a...
Nope, Little Nicky's before Master of Disguise.
Is it really?
2 years before.
Oh, wow.
I was right. Don't shame me with your lack of knowledge.
That, honest to God, hand to God, that is surprising to me. I thought that movie came out way before it. So you are right. I'm sorry. Everyone give
Thank
Jared
you for your
a
apology.
round of applause.
Now, everyone, don't apologize for Peyton having bad taste in movies.
I like this movie for 10 minutes.
So, those of you who follow our Instagram and voted on the poll may
Thank
have
you.
seen...
Thank you to those who voted to keep me on this show.
we just said, do you deserve a second chance? We didn't vote on that yet. No, where Peyton texted us and said, oh, I'm kind of enjoying Jack and Jill. Just, I will tell you guys the point where right now we're in the first 3 minutes of the movie. I will tell you the point where he texted us after saying, oh, it just got really racist and regretted the rest of his decision.
Yeah, it's like in The Dollop when Gareth is like, I like this guy. And then Dave just reads the lines like, and then he killed 100 people. He's like, I don't like this guy anymore.
Yep, exactly. This, the opening...
Except you keep talking about how you actually do kind of like this movie.
Yeah,
Besides
yeah.
the racist part, so...
The opening 10
Not the
minutes
whole
of this
movie.
movie is funny.
Yeah.
The 15 minutes of this movie, the establishing stuff is pretty funny. But we're introduced to Jack. This is Adam Sandler's character, one of them. And he is a ad executive /
Screenwriter?
ad director.
Oh, okay.
He owns the company.
And he owns the company. Hey, real question here. Why does Adam Sandler always write himself as some insanely successful person in his movies?
Fake it till you make it.
Billy Madison, he's about to inherit a hotel empire. Bedtime Stories, he's about to open a beautiful hotel.
Big Daddy,
Uncut
he
Gem?
doesn't do anything.
Oh, that's another movie that this guy directed, was Big Daddy.
I love Big Daddy.
Big Daddy's so heartfelt. I just don't like the
It's-
scene where
yeah.
the kid throws up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's because you have a problem with vomit.
I have a vomit phobia.
I thought you were about to say fetish. And I was
No,
gonna be
Gerard
really
Way
confused.
does, though.
Oh.
yeah.
That's...
And not like, he like wants to be vomited on, apparently.
Ugh,
Yeah, that's like the next step
the
up.
stomach acid.
Yeah. That's like the difference between like, you know, like a scat fetish. Like if you wanted to see someone poop versus being
That's
pooped on you.
worse.
Then vomit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a vomit phobia, so that's why I think it's much
Yeah.
worse.
I mean, both are bad, but vomit seems, comparing the two, not as dirty as poop.
I was going to say organically, I think you're more likely to be vomited on than pooped on unless you have a child.
Yeah.
Then both are going to happen.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, on this vomit of a movie, we find out that Dunkin' Donuts has reached out to Jack for an ad for their new drink called the Dunkachino, and they want Al Pacino for the ad.
So, there's story behind this too. Initially, they were trying to get Starbucks in on it, and they were just going to call it the Frau Pacino.
Frau?
What?
It's German?
Frau, I think it
know.
was. Or just a Frappuccino. But a Frau Al Pacino.
I get it.
But then Starbucks was like, no thank you.
And they're like,
So then
stay away
Dunkin'
from
Donuts
us.
was like, yeah, I guess we'll do it.
That's
This time,
embarrassing.
Dunkin' Donuts had nothing going on.
Well, they're big. Dunkin' Donuts is big on the East Coast.
Is it?
We
Yeah.
don't think
Oh,
it's
it's
like a big
huge
deal
East
here
Coast.
because they
What is it,
just started showing up
Boston
here.
is their main...
Boston, it's the
yeah.
official, like, everyone loves... Do you know who loves Dunkin' Donuts? Ben Affleck.
Really?
Yes. There's always pictures of him coming out
yeah.
of his house fucking disheveled with, like, tons of Dunkin' Donuts. Their coffee's fucking disgusting. I'll go on record
Isn't it a
saying
lot of sugar? Yeah.
There's a Dunkin' Donuts here in Riverside.
But their little bacon... You
That
can get like a
is
bag
so
of bacon.
good.
That's
oh
really
my
good.
God. There's a Dunkin' Donuts here in Riverside, and it takes 45 minutes to get anywhere in Riverside. So it's about 40 minutes away, even though it's 3 miles down the road. I went there. I was so excited. I got the little bag of bacon. I got a large iced
that one's-
coffee. I took one sip of the iced coffee, and I threw it away. It was
Yeah.
so fucking putrid. It felt like I licked the end of a battery when I took a sip of
Ugh.
it.
Never been.
But that bacon,
That bacon, because it's got like a little bit of maple on it.
yeah,
Oh,
you
it's
could get
so
bacon like
good.
you get French fries. They
It's
just put like a
really
bunch of
good.
little
Really?
pieces of bacon in a bag.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I've been to-
It's like the crappy restaurant bacon. It's not like real bacon.
But it's still really
good.
crispy.
Huh.
It is
I love a crispy bake.
chef's kiss. So yeah, they're like, that's the main conflict of this. So meanwhile, while they're setting up this entire plot line about Al Pacino, it's on the set of a Pepto-Bismol commercial, as we mentioned, and they're just fucking chugging Pepto.
They are.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
And all the Pepto
Drink the pink.
is all label facing out on this cart.
They almost look CGI too.
Well, they're real, unfortunately, but this brings up the interesting thing of Jarrett had a theory about why this movie was made. I have a theory about why this movie was made. It's an old theory that Red Letter Media brought up years ago, which is that he's just racketeering. He is Adam Sandler.
Racketeering?
Racketeering.
Racketeering?
It's a
Racketeering.
Racketeering.
Is there 2 words like that?
It's
Did you say, are there 2 words like that?
The way that I'm pronouncing
It's
it is 'cause-
racketeering, not racketeering.
No, it's like like a
spelled-
raconteur.
It's spelled CON in the center.
Like a raconteur.
So it's not racketeering, it's racketeering.
Oh. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a very good
I only
speller,
know
so-
that because there's a band with Jack White and it called
the
the
Raconteurs.
Racketeers.
That was the.
I mean, that's a bass line, but yes,
That
yes,
was
that is.
no, but that was my
Steady As She
ringtone
Goes is one of their
for
songs. Yes.
probably 6 years of my life. That was my only ringtone.
So here's a theory. It was proposed by Red Letter Media on YouTube. So I'm not plagiarizing. I'm just telling you. Adam Sandler's goal when he makes a movie is he knows it's not going to make any money at the box office. Or he knows it is, but it's going to cost a lot to make it and maybe not break even. He was paid $20 million to make this movie himself to act.
What's the
in it.
budget of this movie?
Too much.
Yeah.
That's true. A lot of CGI.
What he does is the whole setup is I'm going to get me and all my friends a vacation because notice how all of his movies take place in an exotic location. They end up on a cruise ship in this movie at some point.
Yeah.
And all of his movies have egregious product placement. Now, he's the producer on this film. He gets the money from the product placement. You have, in just a quick thought on my brain here, Pepto-Bismol, Dunkin' Donuts, Coke, because when they're in the movie theater, the Coke cups are all label facing out.
Yep.
And who knows how many more. But he gets that money. So it's just like, that's his whole point of making these movies, is that's how I'm going to get even more money. I'm going to get all the ad revenue money, get a vacation, and that's that. What was your theory about the movie, Jarrett?
Oh, so my theory has more to do with like the plot being involved with it, is that Jack and Jill, because he seems so much just like his normal character Jack is his portrayal of himself, where Jill is the portrayal of all of his movies. And he's gotten to the point where he knows that Jill is typically labeled as bad, obnoxious, not needed, annoying. And he made this movie knowing that it would be bad and was like, I hope this movie shuts me out of the film business. So I'm just going to make a really bad movie, but I'm going to have notes of me having conflicts with my own movies, but still having to love them.
That would make this movie so fucking deep if that
would
was
be
the case.
such a fucking deep movie of like, oh
Because
shit.
You know why I give you... Now, what my theory is the approach, the Adam Sandler approach to film, right? Why I think you might be right is, do you remember his threat in regards to Uncut Gems that he made?
Oh, yeah.
Where he said, if I'm not nominated for an Oscar, I'm going to make the worst movie I've ever made, right? Do you know what that worst movie he's ever made is called? Because there's a script for it, and it keeps getting passed on.
I thought it was Jack and Jill too.
It's called The Basketball Twins.
Oh.
And it is Jack and Jill 2.
Oh.
So I think possibly this was like a, how bad do you want me to be? Because I'll be as bad as you want. Because in Uncut Gems, he did prove, I mean, he's proved numerous times that he's a very capable
What's the production company that he does all his movies? Happy Madison. Was this one
Happy
even?
Madison.
I don't remember. Maybe I zoned out. Was
dinner
this...
podcast.
Yeah. Was this a Happy Madison production?
It is, yeah. He doesn't do anything that's not Happy Madison. Even...
No, I know, but I just don't remember seeing it. That's why I was like, wait.
company,
Yeah, even Bedtime Stories, which is a Disney film, is a Happy Madison co-production, which is crazy.
Oh, Bedtime Stories to Tell in the Dark by Guillermo del Toro.
Yes,
he partnered with him.
Guillermo del Sandler. In that one, you see the fish's penis, but it's more for a joke.
Yeah.
But yes, we also get introduced to everyone's favorite mainstay in Adam Sandler movies, Nick Swartzen.
Yeah.
Give it up for Nick Swartzen, everyone.
His stand-up was good.
He does make some pretty funny jokes about how someone doesn't look Jewish. And then he's like, what does that mean? He's like, he's like the perpetually on the verge of being fired assistant.
Always putting his foot in his mouth.
Yes.
He's like, I'm half Jewish. It's like, what does that mean?
No, he's like,
He's like, yeah.
I'm kind of Jewish.
He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm atheist. He's like, get out of here. That is a pretty... He does probably have some of the better, more consistent jokes throughout the movie, but he still sucks. So,
and then he lets him know that, like...
Jill wants to be picked up at the airport at 4 in the morning because of jet lag, even though she's coming from New York. And they keep saying there's a 4-hour difference.
No, he says 3.
Does he?
Yeah.
Someone else said 4. And I was like, what? It's 3 hours.
I heard 3.
Oh, did you? Maybe I'm just dumb.
I didn't hear anything, so I don't
Shut up. You were focused so much on this movie. You were like, oh, The Phantom was so good. I can't wait to watch my next favorite film, Jack and Jill.
Heck no. And I watched Jack and Jill before The Phantom because I wanted to save the best for last.
So we go...
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't, yeah. We go to the airport, and he picks up Jill.
Is she the only one on this flight?
Apparently.
She's the only one in this airport.
Yeah, only one in this airport.
Even the janitor's asleep.
Even the janitor's asleep, yes. She has hella bags. Jack tries to convince her to stay in a hotel, and...
Oh, she brought a bird. And what, he turns
What's
the
his
AC
name?
on and the bird gets...
No, he opens the windows. The bird's name's Poopy.
Pookie.
Pookie? I thought it was
it is Poopy.
It's Poopy. Yeah, and let me tell you, this movie is chock full of unfunny jokes, but the most unfunny joke is this fucking bird. I hate, except for one joke that Jared's giggling about because he's thinking about right now. But
No, there's 2.
I lump that into funny jokes from that character, not that bird.
Oh, yeah.
That character is the
yeah.
shining moment in this turd of a film. So yeah, they bring her back. She has a bird.
She, for some reason, needs to sleep from getting home or getting
At
back
4
to
in the
their
morning.
house at like probably 5 in the morning is by the time they got to their
Yeah,
house.
6 in the morning, depending on traffic from LAX.
I don't think that was in LAX.
It says Los Angeles at the airport.
Oh,
There's
really?
only one Los Angeles airport.
No, there's like a million airports in every single city.
Well, it would say
If it was
Burbank. If it
LAX,
was Burbank, it's supposed to be LAX because he lives in
There would be a
Hollywood.
lot more people in LAX.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
It's
Trust
Long
me.
Beach. It's probably Long Beach.
That's not Long Beach.
There's no one at
It
Long
would say
Beach.
Long Beach on it.
Long Beach is the best airport, though.
That's where I'm flying out of.
Oh, you're
It's
gonna
such a-
love it.
yeah.
It's
I
so
know.
easy.
Have you been?
I've flown out of there.
Oh, it's
When I initially came down here for my job interview, I flew into into Long Beach and out of Long Beach in the same day.
Oh, you spent more money interviewing for it than you still have ever made.
I know. Speaking of, we have great Bombs Away merchandise here. But yeah, so we get back to Jack's house.
She sleeps from, let's say 6 in the morning, let's go for it, all
To
the way
5
past
p.m.
5 p.m.
But even better than that, we're introduced to the only funny character in this movie right now. Katie Holmes' parents are here because apparently it's 4th of July. God damn it! It's Thanksgiving.
It's like Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving Day. Yeah.
Which, that airport would be even more crowded.
I know. So it's Thanksgiving Day, and Jack's wife, played by Katie Holmes, her parents are really good people, apparently. They're not in the movie ever again after this, but they have brought a homeless man to Thanksgiving dinner. We're also introduced to Jack's 2 children, where I did write right here, why is Jack's son Indian? Because I was like,
adopted, wasn't he?
but yes, but right now I was confused as to why he had an Indian son. But and then his daughter is obsessed with basically American Girl, and she always dresses up the way that her doll is dressed. So in this scene, she's dressed like a
Puritan.
like a pilgrim woman, and the doll is too. The they mention that his daughter is good at karate. And she starts doing karate in the room, and the homeless guy starts screaming. and they're like, "It's okay, it's just pretend, And he's like, "Oh," it made me laugh. It's such a fucked up joke because like the punchline is like, homeless people are ill, but it's so funny in the moment.
I would say it's more of a really fucked up joke about veterans of the Vietnam War.
That's what I was going to say, that homeless people are ill. Yeah, but it's like...
For reasons.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
The Veterans
But
Association not taking care of people.
It still made me laugh. I hate that I laughed as hard as I did at it, because when it happened, I was like, bah! But,
well, then they also make a joke about the son that never comes up again in the movie.
About him being Indian?
No, about him taping things.
Oh, it does
Oh, yeah.
occasionally. There's a hamster taped to his back at one point.
yeah,
more of a
but
visual
never
gag,
again.
not-
No,
it's
there's a
never, like,
really good joke that
verbally.
she
Put
makes.
a helmet on that guy too. Yeah, that.
That joke's wild. We'll get to that. So they're at Thanksgiving dinner, and just to introduce you to how fucking annoying of the character Jill is, she has this thing where she explains a movie, and then everyone's like, "Oh yeah, the title of the movie," and she's like, "No," and then she keeps explaining that movie more and more, and they're like, "Yeah, the title of that movie." She's like, "No." So she's like, "What's that movie, Jimmy Stewart, where he lassos the moon?" They're like, "It's a Wonderful Life," and she's like, "No, you know the one where blah 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 blah." Like, "It's a Wonderful Life." She's like, "Why do you guys keep saying that?" No, and like. It's fucking awful.
It's annoying.
This is the worst joke, and it happens. This is the joke that's
Happened
going to
like 4 or
happen in
5
threes. Yeah. It's brutal, and I hate to say it, but the funniest part of this movie is about to end because after this scene, you don't really see him again. But the
see him,
homeless
like,
man
2
is
more
still
times.
at the dining room table. They mention the Indian child, the Indian son, and he has a thing where he likes to tape stuff to him. And Jill says,
At first, he has like a chicken taped to
yeah,
him.
he tapes like a turkey leg to himself.
But then eventually, he has this salt and pepper
Yeah, the salt
shaker.
pepper shaker. It's taped
She
to his
goes,
head.
she goes, I need the salt, and pulls his head and starts. That was kind of funny.
That was kind of funny. He has this stuff taped on himself, and she's like, "Your son is Indian, right?" And then she says, "Don't you think he tapes things to himself because he doesn't feel connected to who he is?" And then she's like, "That was good. I just thought of that." It's like, so we're talking about twin telepathy. They're like, "Oh, we heard that when a twin gets hurt, they can feel it." And then, of course, here comes the slapstick. They just start beating or Jill starts slapping herself in the face, and then she's like, "Can you feel that?" And then Jack's like, "No, I don't know. Maybe hit yourself harder." And then that Indian kid, his name's Greg, fucking rocks her shit. And she's like, "Whoa!" And then he's like, "Oh, I did kind of feel that one." It's like, all right,
He's like,
thanks.
yeah, I felt pride in my son.
Yeah, good job, son. That lady's annoying. So then she was like, "Why don't you like me, Jack? We were womb mates." And he's like, "Oh," and then he does that Adam Sandler scream.
Oh my God! I'm
Yeah.
I'm just fed up with ya.
He's like, and then they're talking about their twin languages, and
It's like ookie bookie cagabuku.
it's just Adam Sandler noises.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and then they get in a fight, and he's like, "That's because nobody likes you." And then the best. I wish it wasn't in this movie because it's so fucking funny. The homeless guy, after they just had a fight with each other at the table, goes, "Hey, this is really awkward. I'm gonna leave." He starts getting up, and they're like, "Aren't you hungry? Don't you want a place to stay?" And he's like, "I'm okay. I'll see myself out," and just leaves.
And he just stays in the woods out back.
And this is when Peyton texted us saying, "Jack and Jill is. I'm kind of enjoying Jack and Jill." Am I right? Is this when you text us?
Yeah. Because
Yes.
it was pretty entertaining.
Because I know for a fact this is when you text us, because we're almost to the part where you go, "Oh, it just got racist."
Just kidding.
So for some reason, Jill runs off into the woods that are apparently behind their house. This scene only exists to show you that the homeless guy lives in the woods behind their house. Like, there's no other point to this scene. So we go back to Jack's house, and he is watching a video of Al Pacino having a meltdown on stage in your local community college's production of King Lear.
No, it's supposed to be like a Broadway.
I think it's
It
more
looks
Broadway.
like shit.
I mean, yeah.
I'm saying
yeah,
it looks
because
like
it's
community.
production value of this, but he.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm talking like the sets look like a community college, threw
Yeah.
it together real quick for him to perform. And the costumes. He's having a freak out because somebody's cell phone is ringing while he's giving his big speech. Also, I don't know if this is King Lear, so don't come for me, but I have a feeling it is.
And
Sounds
then
like it could be.
yeah, and it's mostly just a setup for a joke that's going to happen later
Which doesn't
with
hit.
the cell phone
Yeah.
on stage, and
Which
it's
is-
really stupid.
Except there is one part of that joke later that's funny. But Yeah, so basically what they're building up to is like, oh my god, we're going to be able to get Al Pacino because his career is fucked right now. It's essentially the like little breadcrumbs they're leaving for us. So they're like, oh, hey, he's going to be at the Lakers game tonight. We need to win him over.
The Lakers game in like 3 days.
In like
Lakers
3, yeah.
versus the Kings.
Yeah, Sacramento Kings. What an awful what an awful like B-roll footage they had this show. So he's
This
on the
show?
phone. He's on the phone.
You know, one of the basketball
It must
shows.
be like the
I said to show.
Oh, they said
one
of this
easily.
show.
It must have been like the cheapest footage they can get because
Yeah.
like who cares about the
Kings
Kings?
suck.
Sports.
They used
Yeah,
to be
what
good.
city are they from?
Sacramento.
Yeah, I just said it.
I know. I thought the Kings are a hockey team.
They are
They
as
are.
well.
See? Got that one
Where are
down.
they from?
L.A.
Good job.
That one I know because I know hockey more.
Good. Hockey's a good sport.
Yeah.
Um.
It's a real sport.
Oh my god.
Like baseball. Baseball's fake.
Take that fucking
America's
back.
pastime?
That's America's pastime.
America's bore time.
It is boring. I'll give you that.
It's fun to play, boring to watch.
So he says on the phone to Nick Swardson, I'm not telling my wife to wear something trashy, even if it would save our company, unless she wants to. And then just goes back to the phone. And this, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for is when Peyton texted us and said, "Oh no, it just got racist." We are introduced to Felipe, the Mexican gardener on the house, who is constantly making jokes about how he jumped the border. And the punchline is that he goes, "I'm kidding." And the
And you're like, no, you're not.
You're not. This is racist. And also, I know for a fact this role was written for Rob Schneider, but he had some other shit going on, I
realized
guess.
how racist it was and was like, yeah, I'm not.
No, Rob Schneider is a right-wing nut job.
Oh,
He
is
would have
he?
been
Yeah,
all
he's-
for this. He's an
Oh, yeah.
anti-vaxxer. He's like a pro-Trumper.
Did not know that.
Fuck him. And also, you know what? Fuck his daughter, too. Elle
did?
King,
Oh.
the singer of that X's and O's song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's a fucking nut job. I'm surprised he's not in this movie. I don't know what he was. I wonder if like he's trying to like distance himself from him.
He's doing Deuce Bigelow 3.
He has a TV show called Real Rob, which is one of the most unfunny things on earth.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Poor guy.
Not poor guy.
For being dumb.
I will admit the hot chick is kind of funny.
Exactly.
And the animal.
Right? See?
And the first Deuce Bigelow. And the guy who's like, rip his fucking balls off. That's pretty good too. And the guy, I'm just kidding. I
You
don't
can
know.
do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
That was supposed to be this character.
And he also plays a Native American in bedtime stories.
Oh.
Disney, you better fix that one. So Jill tells them that she actually has an open-ended ticket, which I've like, no one sells that. You made that up for this movie. No airline company sells an open-ended ticket that you can just go home at any time. That means you don't have a ticket
Yeah.
to go home because she wants to stay longer. And obviously they don't want her there. So then we have like a Jill family montage here. And for a mere moment, I was like, oh, he's like really mean to her. She does not deserve, like, she's a good person for like a mere moment. Because when this was over, I was like, oh, yeah. Because our boy Drew Carey shows up in this scene with The Price is Right.
Oh, because she hands him a list of like, these are things I want to do when I'm in LA. And it's
Studio
literally
tour.
like,
I want to
horseback
be on a game
riding.
show, horseback riding,
Jet
go to a
ski.
beach.
jet skiing. Yeah.
And it is like, if you've, well, never mind.
What?
Both of you probably wouldn't know this, but if you've ever had someone come out from the Midwest that like doesn't understand what it's like to be in LA, it's like, no, you don't just do those things. And you don't even like try to do those things because it's just traps. It's literally all just traps of visiting LA.
Well, I can kind of know that. My mother-in-law came down a few months ago and was like, I really want to go to Santa Monica. And I was like, no, you don't. I was like, no, you don't. All it is grimy and dangerous.
Yeah. Or like Venice Beach. You don't want to
Yeah,
go.
and I told him that, and then Carly and her sister were like, no, we want to go. Don't tell my mom that. It's fine. And they all went, and they were like, yeah, it sucked. I was like, I told you. Like,
I love, like, I've had people visit and like, I really hope I see a famous person. I'm like, what are you going to do?
point at him.
Look at them and go,
Never
oh
to
my
see
God.
anyone famous.
One trip that my family and I took down here, years and years ago. We went to Universal Studios. We stayed in Hollywood off of Sunset, but we took that hop on, hop off like sightseeing bus.
Oh, God.
We did one.
It was a lot of fun, to be completely honest. But one time, a whole bunch of people jumped off of the bus at the next stop because Paula Abdul was in a candy store nearby.
Oh, jeez.
At least aim higher.
Yeah, like a D-list celebrity. Like, hey, that's one of the judges of American Idol.
Hey, she had a music video with the cartoon.
One step forward, then 2 steps back. And then Peter, I don't know the rest of the song. I only know the thing from Family Guy where he's like, and I'm dressed as a cat. So she gets knocked out by the Price is Right wheel. She wins a bunch of prizes.
I laughed so hard on that one.
You
I'm
did
still
like
trying
the
to figure out
Phantom.
how she even got knocked out by the wheel.
It's one of those handles that they pull to spin it, and since she somehow got too close to it, and then thunk.
The
I thought you
handles
were gonna
are
say
on
you were
the side.
you were laughing about the.
They are on the side. Somehow she got like.
No, they're like
Close
they
to
don't
it.
stick out like
Wouldn't it
that.
have been cooler? She
That
got
would be
sucked
horrible
in.
if it got yeah. I was
And her
like, that's why
head
they
got
don't have
crushed.
handles
like a
like that.
Muppet thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Gonzo running.
I thought you were gonna say you thought the jet ski thing was funny, and I was like, that you see
Oh,
that all the time. It's not
God.
funny when they do it in Waterworld at Universal Studios. Again, yeah, Jill is riding the jet ski in the pool and she gets hurt, and Jack is just like, I wish you would die.
Jack was like, "Don't break my pool," which it's an in-ground pool where it's like, how are you gonna break that?
right?
It literally took like the earth shifting to break my parents' pool because there was a crack in the ground.
You're trying to bring reason into Jack and Jill, unfortunately.
Oh, I know. There's no reason.
Doesn't work.
There's rhymes, but there's no reason.
So then they go to they're at the movies now. This is mostly like a montage.
She's
this
just
whole
a
thing.
dumb, self-centered person.
Yes. However, then the
So
movie
is
at
he.
the end makes you want to feel bad for her, and then you kind of do.
I
But,
don't.
They go to the movies, and
'Cause
all
she's
it
only
is.
thinking about herself. This whole movie, she's
Yeah.
just doing self-preservation and
Well-
not thinking about others.
Listen to this next note I have. We go to the theater, and they're just like, "Oh, look, they're the same person," because they laugh the same. And then
They scratch
Jack yells at her because she's talking on her phone in the fucking
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
And she cries. And I wrote in my notes, Jack makes Jill cry in the theater because she is an abnormal human being.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, God.
I have a phone call. I have to answer it because I'm getting the phone call right now, and I don't care about other people. That's all it was. 'Cause she's a bad person.
Yeah.
All of her actions are extremely self-centered. Even whenever she's like, I think that like we're siblings and it sucks that we're not as close as we used to be when we were kids. And it's like, yeah, because that's you and you're doing it for your benefit. You're making your brother feel bad on both of yours birthdays. You're ruining everything because you want it to be about you.
No, I totally
She's a
agree.
self-centered butthole.
I totally agree. I do think with that in mind, it's like when the ending revelation comes, it's like, huh, she's still a shitty person.
Yeah.
I can feel bad for her, but they're both awful people.
Well, yeah, but he's awful because he's got money.
Pretty much.
She's just awful because she's awful.
She's awful because he's like, I fucking hate you. You're annoying. And then
Well, but he's got it right.
hey, don't get ahead of yourselves at the end of the.
He's
Okay,
got
remember
rights.
what we're gonna vote on at the end. So they go to. They're at Jack's house, and Jack's kids ask her why she doesn't have any children, and she's like, "Well, I have all the parts. I'm reminded of that every month, but they just don't work right." Or no, no, she doesn't even say that. It's not even that sad. She's like, I've just never been married.
Yeah.
It's like, is this movie trying to push, like, you need to be married to have children on us, too?
Jeez.
What a weird, like, hill to die on for an Adam Sandler movie. And then the bird says, I need a man. It's like, so they go to birdfuckers.com to find someone. No, they're going to set up a dating profile for Jill so that she can meet somebody.
Oh, and they definitely name drop Match.com.
Yep, Match.com.
But don't use it.
Okay, Cupid. They drop all of them.
But
And
they
that's
don't
like-
use them.
nope,
They
and that's
go with
more money.
findlovetrue.com.
Yep. And this brings us. They set up a dating profile for her. There's. Her picture is her eating a piece of watermelon, I think.
No, it's a panini.
Oh, is it a panini?
Or it's a pastrami sandwich.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That would give me good thoughts of some nice vaginas. So I would swipe right on that.
I am not happy.
Yeah, that's a left for me.
I am not happy.
Very upset.
That really hurt. God, I could feel the daggers in that one. I hate everything about what you choose to be.
All right, The Office season 2 season finale.
I would look at that and be like, no, you know what I'm
No, I'm
thinking about.
hungry.
No,
Yeah, she thinks it's a bad photo, but I'm actually like, no, it's pretty good. Like, it's cute. You're smiling. You're holding a sandwich. But it is weird that you're in, like, a cupboard. Like,
at least she's not holding a fish. Am I right, ladies?
yeah.
I don't know.
So-
Women are always complaining that men on Tinder are always carrying fish in their
Really?
Or
Tinder
doing
profile
something
pic.
adventurous, like skydiving or standing on a
Everybody-
mountain. Like,
everybody-
sit down. Just sit.
Yeah,
Don't go on
everybody
an
is like,
adventure.
I love hikes. Like, do you really? Do
I
you
love
really
vacations.
love hikes?
And I'm like, what bank account loves vacations?
You don't like hiking?
I mean, I like it, but I'm not gonna like plaster it and be like my personality.
I do think it's an easy one. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's an easy date.
Yeah, because then you could kill them.
I like going on
That's
a
what I
walk.
was gonna say. That it's an easy date to murder somebody.
Especially if it's a national park. People disappear there all the
That's
time.
because of
No
the
one cares
Wendigo.
about
Didn't
it.
you hear that white guy on TikTok say that? Not that you just fall
Yeah.
off a cliff.
And animals eat you.
So Jack, back at his ad company, they're watching a commercial and Shaq is
Oh, I like
advertising
this.
this ham and he has a wig on. And they're like, "Why does Shaq have a wig?" And he's like, I don't know. That was his own. That was
What does
his
he
own
say?
choice."
Sing about the ham.
He's like, "Oh, I don't know," but he's like biting the ham.
ham, eating the ham.
And Shaq's been in other movies with Adam Sandler. So this is, again, just another
Yeah.
person that he knows. Get them a paycheck. But he does say, like, he's like, "Why does Shaq have a wig on?" He's like, "Oh, it's his own personal choice." He's like, "He looks like Al Sharpton on HGH." Oh my God, what's the guy's name? The black guy. I'm totally drawing a blank. Tim Meadows.
Yeah.
Tim Meadows is also in this movie. He works with Jack. He walks in, and Nick Swardson's like, "Oh, Jack has an ugly sister, twin sister." And he's like, "You have a twin sister? Identical or fraternal?" And this joke did make me laugh. I feel very dumb for laughing at it. He says, "Identical or fraternal?" And Nick Swardson says, "Nocturnal."
Which Nick Swardson has been saying things about his sister that like Adam Sandler has been saying.
But he keeps going, "Oh, I'm allowed to say that because it's my sister."
Yeah. But like nocturnal to me doesn't even sound insulting. It's just like, haha, funny, she's awake at night.
No, it sounds more like to me like she's a creature of the night. When I think of nocturnal, I think of bats, possums, and raccoons.
They're cute.
Creatures of the night.
Yeah, but would you want someone to say you looked like a possum?
Possums are cute.
Yeah.
They're cute because they're possums, but what if you met a person that looked like a possum?
I mean, we know Peyton's right here.
Damn, I wasn't gonna say it. That's so mean. I did
that
see him
is
eating out of my
when-
trash can.
You have a weird word for your ass.
Peyton came in eating in my trash can and had a bunch of babies on his back.
Someone's gonna support them. Yeah, Parker. Parker's in studio today.
He's asleep.
My little puppy boy.
So Jack says he goes home and he's on the computer. He's like, "Okay, where do I find desperate guys?" And he's like, "Oh, Craigslist." And he makes an ad to date Jill. He lies a ton about who she is because she was crying previously because no one responded to her dating profile. So, Jesus Christ. So
Just wait till Parker burps.
the next morning she has 100 responses to her ad. So
I also, though, don't get how that gave her 100 responses
Because Craigslist
when
is
people...
crazy.
Yeah, but, like, people are already on the website. Maybe they made an account for it, but still, like...
have you ever been on Craigslist? Like, have you
Guys-
ever really looked at Craigslist?
Oh, my God. You have known nothing about online gay culture.
Oh, are you on Craigslist a lot?
No, but it's, like, the beginning point for dudes that don't know how to, like, handle hookups or to find them.
Because on the gig work side of it, like if you click gigs, there's a lot of like looking for a foot model. Send me a picture of your
Yeah,
feet.
that's just terrifying. But like in the dating side, like some people, that's like because they don't know how to do it. That's like the beginning point for them.
Yeah.
But
Why
also
would you go to
Craigslist.
Craigslist for your beginning point?
Because you don't know about online dating, but also this was back when that was the only option of online dating because it was basically personals from magazines or from newspapers.
Like today's day, I think you'd be like, oh yeah, let's go to
Grinder.
Well, yeah,
I
but
was gonna
2011 especially.
Isn't Grinder that coffee app?
Yes.
So, she gets 100 messages. They're like, "What are you gonna wear, Jill?" And the son does have some pretty good lines. He's like, "What are you gonna wear, Daddy?" In hell, because he knows he set it up. So, Norm Macdonald shows up out of fucking nowhere to go on this date. He sees Jill and he's like, this is not the woman I thought it was going to be, but you clicked her profile.
right.
Yeah, that's the other thing because even everything that Adam Sandler typed where it's like, I love being a masseuse, where it's like just because she rubbed someone's back one time or something. Like, it wasn't extreme lies. Everyone saw her photo, like, and she hadn't even started talking to the guy yet, and the guy was already like, yeah, I don't feel great about this date, and so he hides in the bathroom. But, like, there wasn't really a lie about the dating profile.
No.
It's just, it basically all Adam Sandler did was went to a different dating website and said, look at my profile on this dating website.
Yeah, which I wouldn't click a link like that.
Yeah, exactly. I
So-
was like, that's phishing.
One of the funniest jokes in this sequence, though, is that the daughter's American Girl doll is dressed like Jill
Yeah,
and even
it
has
was
like
really
a
funny.
teethy smile. She goes on her date with Norm. Surprise, surprise, doesn't work out.
He's
Then
letting his salad warm up.
because Jill is so upset, Jack is like, I'm gonna take her to the basketball game. The I keep wanting to say Dodgers, the Lakers game. She's gonna feel a lot better if we do that. So they get to the Lakers game. Cue B-roll. There's Kobe Bryant. Worst thing to happen to him.
Don't just everyone stop.
And then
Don't.
they show Johnny Depp. Worst thing to happen to Johnny Depp.
Oh man.
then
Then they show Al Pacino in this movie. Worst thing to
happen to Al Pacino in this movie.
That one's good.
Yeah, you guys were reacting too hard. That was the next setup.
Whoa, that was a really toey ground of setup.
So Al Pacino is wearing a disguise, and he's sitting there with Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp's
Also,
like,
the disguise is a fake beard.
yeah, a fake beard. And he's like,
That's
so,
not a disguise.
Why are you disguised? Like, I don't want people to recognize me. And then the
No, he
Jumbotron's
doesn't
like,
say.
"Ah."
He says, "I'm
I'm
researching for a
role.
character."
I'm researching for a character, and he's like, doesn't want to be recognized too. And then the Jumbotron's like, Al Pacino,
Famous person cam. Do they actually
Johnny
do
Depp.
that? At
Yeah, they're
Lakers
sitting
games?
next to Johnny Depp, and they're like, Al Pacino.
Is that a thing at Lakers
A
games?
famous person
I
cam?
don't
Probably
think
not.
so.
Yeah.
I do have to say, Matthew Lillard was at a Warriors game I went to, and he was on the camera. He was sitting next to Snoop Dogg, which was fucking wild.
Did you hear Snoop Dogg has had his Twitch stream muted accidentally for 3 days, but like hasn't noticed, and like people don't know if he doesn't care or if he just
He
hasn't
probably
noticed.
doesn't care. The dude's like 60 years old.
He's just been muted for 3 days worth of
I want to see
streams.
his streams though.
It's so funny to me.
He's out there playing Fall Guys or something.
Yeah, sounds like his mic has been. Nah, I don't know. Drop it like it's hot. Whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna.
Sounds like his mic hasn't been dropping it like it's hot because it's not hot.
It's not hot. It's not a hot mic. So Al Pacino is in love with Jill. He thinks she's sexy
Because she's from the Bronx.
because she's from the
yeah.
Bronx, and he thinks she's sexy. I guess because like, why would you just be like, "Hey, your locality turns me on"?
Yeah.
But she
I'm
does.
locale sexual.
Huh?
Locale sexual.
Locale.
I get turned on based on people's locations.
It's like, I see you're within 10 miles of me. I'm torqued.
You know, I've gotten that message on Grindr before.
Oh, well, that's more like you're close to me and I have a boner. They're not mutually exclusive.
Well,
And in another funny scene, as they're driving back to their house from the game, Jill mentions that she's gonna stay through New Year's, and Jack like crashes his car and like does like a huge swerve, and they don't address it. They just like go back on the road. So it's their birthday apparently. Jill's on about that old bullshit of like, oh, I'm the older twin. Or he's the older twin. How does it feel, old man? Then she puts on her gross underwear. So then you guys, chef's kiss. A scene that has aged like milk. They go to the surprise birthday party for Jack, and there's not one, but 2 sexual criminals in this scene.
Oh, yeah.
Jared from Subway is here, and Jill harasses him about, like, you ate that many sandwiches? I missed the fat Jared. And the ShamWow guy is here.
Oh, God, he bit off that person's ear.
He beat a sex worker.
And bit her ear.
And I'm like, did that happen after this? Because I felt like it happened before.
That's what I thought, too.
And Billy Mays' ghost is... Could you imagine? He's like, Jared, I bet you wish you could scrub that from your life.
Oh, it's Vince.
With OxyClean.
Hi, it's Vince with the slap chop.
He did come back for the slap chop, that's right, and the ShamWow. Vince with the ShamWow. It's not a chamois, it's not a towel, it's a ShamWow. So they make some jokes about, like, because Jack wants to pawn Jill off. He goes to Nick Swartz and is like, oh, hey, like, this is my sister Jill. Jill, did you know he's an atheist? And she's like, what? How could you believe that? How could we have the Grand Canyon without God? And then some other guy comes up and is like, you're an atheist, you piece of shit. And it's kind of like beat his ass.
I was like, God.
I've been there. That is kind of like a reaction that some people have to that sometimes, which is like fucking crazy to me.
You don't support a belief system? Ah.
So,
Jill gets upset after a birthday cake.
Yeah, but
one birthday cake gets
she's
brought
like,
out.
one birthday cake? Mom always got us 2. It's like, that's a huge cake.
It's like, well, is Mom
Also,
here?
B, this is a surprise birthday party for your brother. You weren't supposed to be here. So your brother didn't order the cakes. You're now shaming other people that put this party together.
Hey, you're going
Not
a little too
for
hard
you.
into the ending of this episode where we're all going to vote on if he was justified or not. No, I agree with you. I think I wrote here, I was like, Jill is unreasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Al Pacino proceeds to Matt Lauer her.
Yeah.
Where she enters a room and he's just like, hey.
His suit is too big on him, too.
Yeah,
I noticed it,
this
like,
whole
what?
movie he's wearing suits too big.
Is he okay?
And then he proceeds to take her to his house. He has a bunch of delicious desserts.
Honestly, like,
There's probably several cream pies there.
Not yet, but there will be. Jill is so stupid for being like, I'm just not into Al Pacino. Like, just suck it up.
I know, he's rich, he's famous. They play baseball in his house, and this is probably one of the best jokes of the movie, hands down. She hits this baseball, and it breaks his Oscar, and she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. You probably have more, right? And he's like, you would think that, but no. And I'm like, if you want to play into your theory about what this movie is, I'm like, that's why Al Pacino's in this movie.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys aren't going to recognize me. Fuck you. I'm going to do some shit like this. I do hope he's not in the same situation as, I just drew a blank as to what his name is. The guy from Taxi Driver, Goodfellas.
The guy that he makes a joke about being mixed up with.
Robert De Niro?
Robert De Niro? Does he make a joke about Robert De Niro?
In this movie, he makes a joke about... Because, you know, they're listing off all, like, the movies, and he's like, oh, yeah, like, I was in that. And they're like, really? And he goes, no, that was...
Oh,
and he
Robert
says,
De Niro. Yeah. No, Robert De Niro, sadly enough, is... Have you noticed he's in, like, everything now? And it's all really shitty.
Oh.
Like, Bad Grandpa. He was in, like, this other weird movie. Apparently his ex-wife, like, controls his entire estate and is, like, taking all of his money. So he has to work in tons of projects regardless of how he feels about them so that he can afford to live. Which is, like...
It's like a person that's stuck doing Adam Sandler movies.
I know.
Adam Sandler's not stuck doing Adam Sandler movies. He's happy to do them.
No, a person, not Adam. Jeez.
Yeah, Kevin James.
Kevin James is like a UFC guy now. He's like really into
Just 'cause he
it.
did that one movie?
No. He's like really into it now.
Mall
Oh,
Cop?
now?
Yeah, he's. This is when we learn that the gardener kind of has a crush.
No, this is where she runs away from Robert De Niro, right?
Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
Sorry, Al Pacino. I did it. This is where she runs away from Al Pacino, and she doesn't want to wake up the family by going in the house.
So she sleeps in the woods.
So she
yes,
sleeps in the
I
woods.
did not write this in my
Just
notes because I didn't
stop.
think this
It's
joke was that
hilarious.
funny, but Jared does. So go ahead, Jared.
And we see, so she sleeps in the woods, but the gardener wakes her up, and the bird's also out there with her, because somehow the bird came outside,
the
but
bird
she didn't
sweats
go inside.
too, we learned.
Yeah. We also have to talk about the sweating the bed, because that's me, because I sweat the bed consistently. I am
Why I have
such
my
an
fan
easy
on. Don't you have your
sweater.
fan on when you
Yes,
sleep?
I do. I am a very consistently bed sweater. I
need to wear
just
some pull-ups.
Sweat. Yeah, right. But so it's been established too that the bird is like her night guard. It's like she's trained the bird.
She wears
to
it in her
wake
mouth
it
so
up.
she doesn't grind her teeth.
Right? But so the homeless man has also established a camp back there, and so he wakes her up. The bird gets scared and flies away for a second, and then they turn her and the gardener chat or something, and she's like, "I was afraid to go inside." And then they turn because they hear the bird say something, and the bird's between two like halves of bread, and the homeless man's about to eat it, and he's like, "Don't do that." And he's like, "It flew between my bread."
So,
and that's the last time you see the homeless man.
yeah,
It flew between my bread.
Unfortunately, anytime they bring up this
Alaska
gardener
joke.
character, it's
just
always incredibly racist.
Extremely racist.
At least he's actually Hispanic, though.
Yes,
Yeah, but it's
But
like,
it doesn't help.
It's like, hey.
well, what about the
Hispanic-
grandma they're about to introduce who has one tooth and is like,
Ooh, this is really bad.
yeah.
The
So
whole thing is.
the next
this
whole scene-
montage is just.
it's supposed to be endearing because he's like, "Oh, come with me to a park. I'll show you my family." And she has a really good time. She's included. She's never eaten Mexican food.
This is Juan.
This
is
is
my
Juan,
cousin
this is Juan,
Juan.
this is
This is
Juan.
my cousin Juanita.
Juanita. I'm
just kidding.
I'm telling you, this was written for Rob Schneider. This role. She plays soccer. They lift her on their shoulders and they look up her skirt and he's like, "I told you it wasn't a man." And then like someone gets money. It's
Apparently, Adam Sandler accidentally did expose himself at one point during filming.
Are you
I wouldn't be
serious?
Yeah,
surprised.
because of the skirt.
That's hot.
I
What
know,
was
I
he
was
had
like-
his balls out underneath it? He was not wearing anything else.
You ever worn a skirt
Have you ever
or
worn
a dress?
And his,
It
like,
feels great to wear.
I do
no
have to say-
underwear.
prosthetic boobs.
When Jonathan and I hosted Camp Frida, we had these shorts that he had bought for us to be camp counselors, and they got delivered that day. And when we took them upstairs to change, they were like, let me say, they would be purchased in one of those stores that sells jock straps. That's how short these
You could say they were
shorts-
gay.
They were long
I didn't want to
hairs?
say it. They were gay.
were
They
gay.
were very small, like
like trunks.
barely above my balls, or barely below.
I gotta see photos from this event.
barely below.
Barely above my balls. You're telling me they were above the taint?
They were allowing for underball. No, they
Just
were barely.
a peek. I didn't
they,
shave.
They were barely below my balls, and I knew when I opened them that they were meant to be worn without underwear because they had the pouch in them.
Oh yeah,
And
like runner shorts.
Jonathan was like, "I'm not wearing underwear with these. You can't." And I was like, "I am. I'm not going to show everyone in this audience my fucking balls."
Yeah.
So he commandoed it. And then there was one point where we did like jumping jacks, and I was like, "It's over. The show's over. Everyone's going to see his balls. It's over." So yeah, I have been there. But yeah, this whole sequence is incredibly racist. It's awful.
The
But-
grandma. Anytime the grandma gets hurt, they're like, "Oh, jalapenos,
Make her eat
jalapenos."
chilies. Yeah, it's fucking terrible. The whole point of the scene is to be like, look, Jill's included.
Yeah.
Next, at Jack's house, Al Pacino's looking for him. It's kind of funny. He, like, kicks the door open on the house, and he's like, "Where is she? She's
There's-
here." And Jack's like, "She's not."
I'm pretty sure the entire script of Scarface is in this movie.
Probably, yeah. At least in like references.
Yeah.
He goes upstairs and he sees her sweat mark, and he's like, "Who's been laying with her?" Because there's the bird's sweat mark too.
Why would you see a bird sweat mark and be like, "Someone else has been in this bed"?
Birdman. But he lays in her sweat mark, and he's like, "Oh, that's so good." I don't know. They made him like a sex perv.
Can you imagine this?
He basically tells Jack, like, "Unless you give me my sister, I'm not going to do the commercial." And he's like, okay. So, meanwhile, Jill's being dropped off. And the gardener guy is like, "Oh, Felipe." He's like, "Oh, you know, you're going to go home?" And she's like, "Oh, he's abusive to me. Not physically, as I would hurt him, but mentally." And it's just like, okay, what the fuck? He's trying to tell her that he like really likes her. He has a dead wife. Trying to tell her that he really likes her. Meanwhile, she's like shitting her pants in his seat. And she's like, "I gotta go." And he's like, "Oh yeah, the chimichanga drops," is what he says.
Chimichanga bombs.
Chimichanga bombs. She runs upstairs and she's farting. And Jack is like, "Oh, how was it?" And she's like,
He's like, "Oh, you're still not talking to us?" And she's
Still
like,
not
"I'm not talking to."
yeah, she's like, I gotta go. I have the chocolate squirties.
Yeah. I gotta
And,
go make
Katie Holmes
chocolate
is eating
squirts.
pudding.
It doesn't even look like pudding.
No, it looks like shit in a cup.
Yeah.
Was it like mole or something?
No, it's supposed to
It's
be like pudding.
pure shit.
It's
I
they
thought
actually
it was-
scooped it from
It's
her
like
ass.
lumpy pudding.
I thought it was mole.
But I was eating.
Oh.
You were
All
eating.
over the computer.
I was eating when this scene came on. And I I was gonna go back for more food, and I was like, I'm done eating. It was so gross, and her farts were so fucking vile.
Yeah, I like our
They're
last
like-
episode.
That's what your wife hears every morning, Tyler.
I don't shit that often for a person with IBS. I have IBS and constipation. It's a brutal mix.
Thanks.
So when it does come out, I'm in the bathroom like this, like I have to put a towel over my head because the light's hurting me. I'm like, yeah.
So you know what Carly's pregnancy pain will be.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, I'm having a contraction. I
Oh my god.
Carly, I feel your pain.
It's like, oh my god, I got crowded.
I feel like I'm shitting a knife.
Brdunk.
Taking a whole new meaning to dropping the kids off at the pool.
I look in there. Actually, I realized we just accidentally played out an entire scene from Big Mouth. Yeah, there's a scene where his stomach, the character Andrew's stomach hurts hella bad, and he finally, or maybe it's Nikki, and he has like poop shyness, and he finally shits, but it's like a birth scene in the woods, and he like carries it up. He has a huge shit log in his arms that's like wrapped in a blanket, and he's like, it's a shit. And then it's like another one comes out, it's huge. He's like, it's twins.
Oh, gross.
So gross. So he invites Jill to their cruise that they're going to go on. The first opening scene of the cruise is, welcome to Caribbean Cruise Line.
Oh, yeah.
Or
There's
Royal
another product.
Caribbean. It's like, okay, and that's it. And then they show you a Royal Caribbean commercial.
And they film on the boat.
On the boat. I don't know where they are. They're supposed to be in Spain, I guess. He calls Al Pacino. Oh, this is the bird in the chocolate fountain scene, I will say. If you didn't hear us talk about it briefly on the Phantom, this was a big thing on Tumblr for a while where, like, you know Tumblr.
Yeah.
Someone posted the GIF of the bird in the chocolate fountain, and someone's like, you can't do that. That will kill your bird. And it was like discourse beyond belief until someone at the end was like, this is from Jack and Jill. It's like, it's a fake bird. Adam Sandler calls Al Pacino, and like I said, we said earlier, this is just a setup. Someone talking on their cell phone was just a setup for this joke right here, which is that Al Pacino is giving a speech again in King Lear. Everyone's like, the phone starts ringing, he starts getting mad. It's his phone. And he answers it on stage. And
Yeah,
he's talking.
like a really good true actor. He brings his phone on stage with him.
Haven't you seen The Office when Andy is in Sweeney Todd and his phone goes off and he's like, where's that bird?
I don't watch TV.
You almost said bad TV, but you didn't want the discourse. You watch TV. So
I don't watch
bad
that TV.
So he answers it. He's talking on the phone. He quotes Godfather, and then someone in the audience is like, "Did he just quote Godfather?" And this other guy's like, "Yeah," and it's so beautiful. He's like crying over it. He basically says like, "We're in Spain," and he's like, "I'll be there. Bring her to my castle."
Oh, when Bruce Jenner is playing.
Yeah, Bruce. Is it safe to say Bruce Jenner because it is
haven't-
Bruce Jenner in this movie?
I believe since at the time that individual is Bruce.
I was
It
curious
is
about this because
okay.
I didn't know what to write in my notes. It is Bruce Jenner. They do say, Adam Sandler says, well, aren't you doing a show? And he's like, it's a show in LA. They got Bruce Jenner playing this other character. And Bruce Jenner is there and he's on his phone on stage too. So Jack dresses up as Jill and it looks so good. Almost as if that's the thing that's happening the entire time during this movie.
He like uses like cantaloupes for the boobs and
Okay.
a life
It
vest
could
for
have
the
been
butt.
at least like looked a little worse.
Yeah, but it looks
Yeah.
perfect.
But it looks exactly like the character Jill, which I
So-
know he's playing both parts.
He comes out and his boobs are a little lopsided, and this restroom attendant is like, "Come here," which is a reference to. It's supposed to be like a reference to Pretty Woman because they mentioned that earlier. And he fixes the boobs and he's like, gives him a thumbs up. The only reason I'm really bringing that up is because, one, it's for a joke later, but two, that guy is in my favorite sketch comedy show, I Think You Should Leave. He's a well-known character in one of the sketches. So if you listen to that, or you watch that show, it's Ruben from the Car Ideas sketch, and he's going to be in something later. So, we go to Pacino's castle. Jack/Jill goes on this date with Al Pacino. Al Pacino is speaking Spanish to this guy that's like bringing them wine, and the captions are like gobble 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 gobble.
Oh, and it also happened earlier when he was speaking French to his chef.
Oh, was
at his
it? I
house.
didn't notice it. It's just all gobble 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 gobble. Pretty fun.
And then both times the person that he's speaking their native language to goes, "I don't know what you're saying."
yeah, exactly. So, Al Pacino lets everyone know that he has a tickle fetish. He's like, I think that the way that you could find who a person really is by tickling them. They show who they really are. Let me tickle you. And he's like, I haven't shaved in a while. He's like, it's okay. A woman should be natural. And then he starts tickling Jack/Jill, and he breaks a plate. And he's like, wow, so powerful, so raw with emotion. It's so gross. What did Al Pacino do to deserve this whole movie? Poor Al Pacino. I'm like, is he like not there and somebody like convinced him to do this against his will? Is this elder abuse? Like, this is fucking sad. Then on the cruise ship, Jill just mentions basically how much she loves her brother, and she just wishes that he loved her, that it's been hard because her mother passed away. It's hard by herself. Meanwhile, she's pumping massive amounts of iron, and these two like German guys on the boat can't as well. Just a little sight gag. It's whatever. The scene's really throwaway, but just establishing a bigger reason for why what's about to happen in the next scene with Al Pacino is a big deal. So Al Pacino starts talking shit about Jack, and he's just basically like, he's a self-righteous asshole. He thinks he's better than he is. He's going to write a book someday. Haha, okay. And then Jack is like, well, why do you like Jill as Jill? And he's like, well, I see a woman who was always second fiddle to her brother, essentially. Like, never got what she wanted, while her brother got everything in the world. And he grew up to be a selfish asshole. And she stayed behind to take care of her family and got no recognition, while he got to go off and live his life. And all she wants is a little bit of recognition. And that's why she is the way that she is. Okay, but what if she's a piece of shit? So then after this emotionally crushing monologue, Al Pacino just starts fucking singing out of nowhere. So Jack/Jill rushes back to this cruise ship, finds out that Jill has left. Because she found out that he was out there trying to win over, that this whole thing was a setup for her to meet Pacino and get him the commercial, yada, yada, yada. Have you guys ever seen a character make a 180 in character development this fast before?
No.
In a matter of a scene changing, Jack is a good person now. Jill
Maybe he always was.
I mean, he was. He has an obnoxious sister. It literally is. That is the moral of the story, is that his sister actually is out of line and she is in the wrong.
It's like Gail from Bob's Burgers.
Yes.
Where it's like, you just got to be nice around Gail because otherwise it's a problem. So just put up with it.
So,
but I do love Gail.
Jill goes back
Megan
to...
Mullally.
Jill goes back to New York. She goes to the restaurant that her and her mother used to go to all the time for New Year's Eve. And then we get a table full of Adam Sandler characters who are far too busy doing whatever the fuck that is that they're doing to be there. And one of them is David Spade as a woman. And best part of the movie.
So great.
Oh, yeah.
Belly button ring.
Belly button.
With a belly cutout of their dress.
On the dress. David Spade just was the
and
host.
a boob diamond on the dress.
Yes, and a boob diamond. David Spade was just the host of the first episode of Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh my god.
Yes, it was so good. It was so good. Some girl thought he was Dave Chappelle. She came downstairs. She's like, "Oh my god, Dave!" And he was like, "I guess I'm Dave now." He like said that, and then she's like, "I'm so excited to meet Dave Chappelle." It's like, could not have been more wrong.
Oh no.
So, she starts getting bullied by this crew of people because they knew her growing up, and then Adam Sandler shows up and is like, "Hey, don't do that." And then
basically,
yeah, and then Jill and David Spade's woman character get in a fight. And she kicks his ass.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's a really good fight. And then Al Pacino shows up out of nowhere, researching another role. He's scared of fans.
Yeah.
He's for Don Quixote.
Yeah, Don Quixote. And she's like, oh, Hunchback of Notre Dame? That was
That's the
weird. Is that the one with the bells?
Yeah, no, he's got back problems, but he rings bells to help it out.
No. That's Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah. And then
She's like,
so
"No."
he tells her, like, I don't want you to love me if you don't love me. Like, I just want what's best for you, basically, is what he says. And then lo and behold, Felipe has decorated her house, blah, blah, blah. They love
That
each
house is
other.
like coated in snow in one previous scene. That, like,
And then
you don't
now
even-
it's not.
Yeah.
He has his own kids like get all of the snow off the yard and the house and all the plants in the yard. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a bit excessive.
And topiarian of
Yeah.
hearts. So then, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for, we lead right into the Dunkachino commercial of Al Pacino rapping about Dunkin' Donuts. And then he's sitting there with Adam Sandler, with Jack, and he's like, burn this.
Burn it.
This never sees the light of day. Who's seen this? Well, no one really. My wife, she doesn't talk about it. It's going away. And I'm like, now on to what you said. I'm like, is this line Adam Sandler writing personally about this movie? Him being like,
Probably.
burn this. Don't ever. He got $20 million for this movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was trying to shoot himself in the foot.
I think too. I think he was like, okay, no more comedies for me.
Yeah.
He's like,
He was trying to pull a Matthew McConaughey when Matthew McConaughey was like, don't put me in romantic
He was like,
comedies.
how do I get back to the Spanglish zone?
Spanglish, Punch Drunk Love, eventually Uncut Gems. Yeah. He deserves better. I like Adam Sandler. He was supposed to be in fucking Inglourious Bastards, but he was filming something else.
Jack and Jill.
Oh,
gosh,
the Bear Jew role was written for him
Oh.
by Quentin Tarantino. It was supposed to be Adam Sandler. It was supposed to be a bit part,
Aw.
but then he couldn't do it, so that's why Eli Roth is in it. Is that a bummer?
Yeah.
Well, that's Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we covered it enough. What a two depressing movies in a week, or in a row, that is.
In a row. There's only this one.
Ah, shut up. That brings us to the Jaws scale. Peyton, go ahead and give us your Jaws.
Jaws 4. It was not that great. It was a little entertaining at the beginning, and then it just petered out from there. And I think that she was like self-centered, like we said. They're both bad people. I mean, maybe Adam Sandler, Jack was like a little bit, kind of just had that like sibling like rivalry a little too much, and could have eased up on her. But yeah, she's just self-centered, so I don't know if she really deserves it, but she definitely doesn't not deserve it.
I agree. Jarrett?
Yeah, it's a Jaws 4, and she deserves all of it. She's doing it all for herself. I think Jack has every right to be like, yeah, you're kind of annoying and horrible, because if you don't call out that type of behavior, it's not going to get fixed.
Yeah, and
Jack
it was her
was just-
choice to stay behind.
But she was consistently also growing up, trying to make it just a her and a Jack thing, and Jack was like, listen, we're our own individual people, so fucking be
And
yourself.
I think that's a problem
And
with,
she was
with
like,
twins, specifically, is like that they can't separate themselves. And also, that's probably his problem with Adam Sandler.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give this a 3 if what Jarrett said is true about this movie.
Only
I would give
saving
it.
grace.
I would give it a 3 regardless of that, because I don't want to give it a 4 because I want people to watch it if they haven't seen it already, because
you're being mean.
it's kind of like astounding that this film exists.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, really go watch this because it's nuts.
It's on Prime for free.
It's on Prime for free. Also, I don't want to give it a 3 because The Phantom really deserved a 4, and I feel mean to this movie by giving it a 3. I'm just saying that to be mean to Peyton. It's a 3, closer to a 4 than a 2, but only because if what Jared is saying is true, I think this movie has some merit that you should go watch it.
I could see that.
I could too. Also, I believe that she fully deserves to be shunned from her family. She's a piece of shit. Like, and I wonder if that's what Adam Sandler's trying to say. Is like, hey, these characters aren't good. These characters aren't fun. They're not cool. Like,
They're racist.
stop. Yeah, they're racist. Stop making them. Like, stop doing them.
You know, that could
because he
be.
does bring it up where she says, or when people say awful stuff around him, he's like, hey, don't say, like, that's fucked up. Well, I can say that because I'm in that group.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dang.
Oh my God! Is this movie deeper than we thought?
Did
This
we
is
just show
Christmas
girls?
cranks with the
I
cranks
blew
all over
minds.
again. Oh my God! Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jack and or Jill. Thank you so much for joining us on this adventure through one of the worst movies I've ever watched on this show, The Phantom. You can find all of our merch and links at linktr.ee/bombsawaypodcast. Join us next week for... You know when I always mention that maybe the show is about movies that you thought were bad but deserve redemption.
Phantom.
Not The Phantom. Next week is an absolute, hands down, personal favorite movie of mine. I have watched it like 3 times in the past year. Jared just farted.
Right into Peyton's face.
Join us for the reason why there are no more live-action Dr. Seuss movies.
Or Michael Myers movies.
No, that's Love Guru. We're not doing that. Don't think we're doing that. Join us for The Cat in the Hat. A great fucking romp.
Oh my gosh. It's only good for that meme that we all know where Cat in the Hat's about to beat someone up with a baseball bat.
Also good
There's
for
a
when
lot
they're
of
like,
really funny
wow,
lines.
it's like we're on a ride. And he's like, yeah, like a ride at Universal Studios Orlando. And he winks and he's like, ka-ching! And then the scene continues again. It's a good movie.
I saw it in theaters.
I did too.
Yeah.
So good.
I
So yeah,
forgot
join
why
us
I saw
next
that
week
one.
for me just jerking off the Cat in the Hat because it's such a good movie.
Oh, so this is your Phantom.
The Phantom's bad. So, and then
Phantom's
the next episode after that is our next bargain bonanza. We mentioned it's going to be Resident Evil 1 through 3, and then smack dab right into all of our Halloween quote unquote movies. And the Halloween movies that we're going to be covering are all 3s. They're all the third in the sequence
Halloween
because
3?
that's
Wishmaster
either where
3?
we are,
Oh, wait, no, we've done that.
or that's just we're going for it. We can tease it. Yeah. We're doing
Don't talk about him. Don't tell him.
Halloween 3 because Peyton just said it,
Oh, damn it.
and that's it. I'll just say that one. That's the first.
That'll
one.
be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love Halloween 3. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for us here at Bombs Away. Thank you so much. If you see Adam Sandler on the street, give him a hug. I think he needs
I
it.
think he needs it.
And yeah, thank you so much. Good.
I mean, you see him at Disneyland sometimes.
He's there all the time.
Yeah.
Carly's dad ran into him.
I've seen him a few
in the
times.
queue for Alice in Wonderland, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, Adam," and he was like, "Hey." Well, thank you guys again so much. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.